Okay, so I saw this tweet. It said, what is your favorite greatest hits or compilation album? And a few came to mind. So the first one that came to mind for me is Queen's Greatest Hits 1, 2, 3 Platinum Collection. And so I think this is one of the first ways that I actually got into Queen. And normally I don't get into artists through compilation albums. I usually just kind of go and listen to their albums, the most popular ones or ones that are liked by fans, and see like what I really like about it. But if you haven't got into Queen before, then I would recommend you actually listen to this album, because I do like Queen a lot. However, I feel like a lot of their albums aren't particularly strong. Like, I whittle it down to the few tracks that I really like, and then I keep it pushing. But this album is basically just giving you, like, their hit singles that you really like. You might have, like, a deep cut or two, and you're just like, wow, like, they had so many good songs. And so I think that this is just a really good kind of reflection of who Queen is as an artist, and this is probably like my favorite one, because this is the one that I'm actually going to listen to. Because a lot of times with artists that I like, I kind of feel like the compilation album is not really going to do a whole lot of benefit to me, because let me go listen to the album that I was originally off of. But for Queen, I think it actually works really well. Then I have the Beatles. So they had two compilation albums. They had one that was basically just their hits from the beginning of their career, and then the other one, it was just the hits from the rest. And these are helpful because stuff like Strawberry Fields Forever, for example, and Penny Lane, those songs weren't put onto Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band because they were like already having them released as singles, and back then you didn't really do that. If you released singles, you weren't going to put them on an album. You wanted fans to kind of get their money's worth, and they've regretted that and whatever. And those were on Magical Mystery Tour, by the way. But you know, these are kind of nice because stuff that wasn't put on their albums and was just released as a single, they're gonna put these on there. And again, you just listen and you're like, wow, they had so many hits. And the Beatles is my favorite band. I think they have a lot of great stuff in their discography. I get why some people don't like the Beatles or think the Beatles is overrated and blah, blah, blah. But if it wasn't for the Beatles, then music would be a lot different. Beatles were pioneers in a lot of ways that people don't really want to talk about, especially them getting psychedelic with stuff like Revolver and Sgt. Pepper's and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I like the Beatles a lot, and I'm a huge Paul McCartney fan, and I actually really do like these albums, and I do revisit. Last up, I'm going to say Mariah Carey number ones. And so I can appreciate this because you're going to have the hits that you love, like A Vision of Love, Emotions, I Don't Want to Cry, stuff like that. But you get some extras, like she does her rendition of I Still Believe, and she ate Brenda K-Star up so bad it's actually kind of ridiculous. And then I also really liked her song that she did with Whitney Houston, which was When You Believe, from the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. She has Sweetheart, which remains Dupree, so she gave you a couple extras as well as the hits. So I'm gonna go back to the album for those, if anything. So, you know, I appreciate it. A little bit too soon, and she does have a compilation after this, and that was in 2015, I believe, and that's when she released Infinity. And Infinity is definitely one of my favorite Mariah Carey songs all the time. I don't care, but you know, I decided to go with this one. I feel like you get a couple more extras on this, and it's funny how she released this and it was already outdated because of the success of All I Want for Christmas Is You. But I had to mention Mariah in this video for sure, and I feel like I wanted to mention this album. I also have to mention Mariah's The Remixes album 2003. She has a lot of great obscure remixes, like I love the Fantasy Death Club mix, the Honey mix, and whenever Mariah does a remix, she completely re-sings the song, new production, all that stuff. So if you're a Mariah fan and just love like house music and club music, it's worth listening to. Last up, Janet Jackson's Design of the Decade. It's worth it for 24 play alone, but she has a lot of great hits: Nasty, What Have You Done For Me Lately, Rhythm Nation. So those are going to be my picks for my favorite greatest hits or compilation album, and I did do a video talking about the death of the compilation album and why, so I'll link that at the end of this video down below in the description if you guys want to kind of check it out. But I thought that this was fun to do. I think there's a lot of greatest hits out there, and they definitely serve a purpose for some people. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about my picks. What are your favorite greatest hits or compilation albums, and let's continue that conversation.